video, I'll show you how to dry a gourd so you can use it to make bird toys. As you can see, I already have a whole bunch of dried gourds. These are ones that I dried about 5 days ago, so it does not take long. Some of them about a week ago. But you can see that I got everything out of them. So birds can have fun playing with this, and you can see here, Rico loves chewing these sides up. He loves that. And so the purpose of drying them is so they get that crunchy, hard, yet easy to break feel, and also so they're safe, and so your bird can't eat them, and so bacteria can't go into them, so it's safer for your bird. So you're going to need some type of sharp knife because they are really hard to break into, and you're going to need a spoon. So you're going to start by cutting off, at least for me since I'm using this type of gourd, but for any type of gourd that you do, you're going to want to start by cutting off the neck, I found the best ways to just poke a hole, just like that. Just poke a hole through it, and then it'll go through. So your gourd might have spots on it or whatever. These are mold spots, and they are okay. A lot of people actually prefer them, but that's when they're doing art. You might be wondering if they're okay when you're dealing with like making a toy for your bird. And they are okay, because the mold will die. Once you dry it, it will just kind of turn into a spot. And you're just going to cut through all of these. You can also cut it down like this, whatever way is easiest for you, but please remember to be safe. And if you think that cutting it this way is safer, which it probably is, than the other way, then definitely do that way. Okay. Now you're going to want to use your knife and poke it through the soft part of the gourd, and you're just going to spin it around. And you're going to take it all out. You're going to want to take out all of the part that could be labeled as the fruit. Until it's hollow. And you're going to want to do this with all of them. So I thought this really showed it good, but this is the part, this browner part, this browner, more like darker part right here that goes around, that's the part that you want to keep. That's the part that can all dry. This right here, the white part, That's the part that we're trying to get rid of. So if you need that, like as an example, you can always go further into the dark part. But as long as you get all that white out, your gourd should dry nicely. As you saw, this one broke. It's okay if your gourds break. It adds a little bit of contrast and a little bit of variety in your toy. If you don't want them to break, you can always just throw that out. But they will most likely break, especially if you plan on doing this to a gourd that is a little bit like older, not really as fresh. Just like that. Sorry about Rico, he's kind of hanging out on my phone. Okay, and then if you have this piece, what you are going to do is going to do the same exact method, just you don't poke all the way through. These ones will always take a little bit longer to dry because you won't always be able to get all of the fruit out. But they'll still work. I have a bunch of these that are dried. You're just going to want to get the most out of there as you can. And this should work if it looks like this. Okay, now that you have all your dried pieces, well, they're not dried, but now that you have all your pieces, you're going to want to put them into some sort of box. It can be with the rest of your dried gourds if you've done this before, or it can just be separate or alone or whatever. You're just going to put them in there. It doesn't matter if they're clumped or separated or whatever. Just throw them in there. You can keep them outside or inside, but I recommend you putting them in an area that's dry. So if it's dry outside, have them out there. If you have a dry spot in the house, put them in there. Wherever you think could dry a fruit best. Leave them out there until they look dry and you can easily crack them. And the insides, like everything's dry, you know? Leave them out till they have kind of that look. But you'll know when they're dry. Some might be split like this. So yeah, now let's get started on the big part. So to do this big part, most gourds have a big part like this. So even if yours isn't one of these white ones, it probably does have a larger part of it. Just trying to clean up a little bit. So you're going to want to cut down the middle. Just cut through so then you can just pull everything out. Like what I did here. You can also see the difference between a dried gourd and a gourd that is still alive. Dried gourds will lose all their color, or most of it, and they will just be browner and harder and crunchier. Nice comparison. So, as you can see, what I did here was I just cut through. So that's what you're going to do. Now you're going to be able to pull out this piece, and then it's kind of like carving a pumpkin because you have to clean out all the insides. That's why we have a spoon. And then you can put this piece right along into the box with the others, and it too will dry. And the dried pieces, again, will be basically like wood. Nice soft wood, flaky. The birds love to play with it. And I just saw that this fruit was in here, so I'm gonna quickly clean this out. I actually broke this one in half, because mine as well, to show you guys how the insides will look. You can see there's a little bit of goo. You can clean that out. It really won't do an effect if there's a tiny bit of goo. But you can see here that the neck, meaning the fruit, goes all the way down until here. So make sure you get all that fruit out to avoid molding. And you can put it in your box. And then all these pieces will dry. So thanks so much for watching. That was a video on how to dry gourds so you can make bird toys out of it. Rico found a seed. But it's just, since, you know, Halloween is over in like fall kind of, a lot of people have gourds around, and hopefully you've seen this before you've thrown out your gourds, or else you're gonna have to wait a whole year. But this is basically how you can use those old gourds that you don't need anymore and turn them into bird toys, how you can dry them for your bird toys. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope that you are going to be able to successfully dry gourds and make them nice for a bird toy. I will also have a video of me turning these into bird toys, but that'll be a whole different thing. So, hope you learned something. Bye!